From a very young age, I was always very embarrassed of myself. I was embarrassed about the way that I talked and still do, and I was embarrassed about where I was from. I was embarrassed about my home. And most of it had to do with the stereotypes of living in the South. I live in the heart of the Appalachian Mountains, and it was always hard, especially when I would travel, like more northern, and I would speak in front of people. They would, sometimes people would just laugh, but then sometimes people would have you repeat yourself. So I felt like one of those little monkeys at a circus when everybody's just kind of standing around it and, getting it to do all these tricks. I felt like I was more of a thing than an actual person to all these people that were having me repeat myself. I felt like that they were just having me do tricks for them for their own entertainment. And there's a lot of stereotypes around the South and the people of the South, that we are illiterate, we don't have all of our teeth, that we sit on our front porches in our underwear with our shotguns ready just to blow everybody away, or that we make moonshine, or all these other things. And while bits and pieces of those things have some truth in our history with small groups of people, it's not everybody as a whole. So what I wanted to do was to show everyone my opinion of what the South really is. You think of the South as this rural, urban area, and these places exist in the North too. But I want to show a different side of what it is. I want to kind of ruin that stigma. I want to get that out of there and just say that, I have a college degree, I finished high school, I've worked in jobs, and I'm a very smart person. The way that I talk doesn't affect me as an individual. It doesn't make me any less smart than somebody else that, speaks in a different dialect, basically. And I'm still very subconscious over the way that I talk and the way that I speak, and to admit where I'm from a lot of times because of that stigma. So that's one of the reasons I feel like I've had to work a little extra hard to prove my worth to a lot of different people because of who I am and where I'm from. And it's kind of sad to say that in this year that we still think this way about any groups of people. And I'm not even talking about just people from the South or people that talk different than everybody else. This could have to do with your sexual orientation. This could have to do with the color of your skin. This could have to do with so many other things. Like, I don't understand why we're still looking down on certain groups of people just because of who they are, where they're from, how they believe, or how they speak. So I thought I would take my dog Lily on a little ride today, and we go to one of our favorite places to go. We haven't been there in months, and just show you something very special. It's about a 40-minute drive from my apartment, but I think it's well worth going out there just to prove this point. So if you wouldn't mind, come along and join me. We've made it to the destination, and before I kind of do a big reveal of everything, I want to say that, although that some stereotypes are true, to a degree, a very small degree of that, the area that I live in, time definitely slows down a little bit here, but it's a tremendous place, and this is one of my favorite spots to come to, but I'll just kind of show you where we're at so far. So this is a location called Elk Gardens, or this is the Elk Gardens parking area. We're right at the Appalachian Trail, which to many of you may know, this trail goes all the way from Georgia up to Maine. And this has been named one of the most beautiful parts of the entire trail because what we have over in this direction is Mount Rogers, which is the highest mountain peak in the state of Virginia. And then White Top is the second highest peak, which is right down the road. So we're actually in between two of the highest mountain peaks in this entire state. So what I'm going to do is take you to the top of this little parking area here and just kind of show you what I'm talking about.
When the storm is raging in your head,
So we made it to the very top, and you can see that's actually where we came from. So you can just see how the mountains just kind of roll for miles and miles. And hopefully the wind isn't too strong. Up, you can see if I do a full 360, we're just surrounded by mountain ranges in every direction. Place I've drove by many times. Up until last year, I think, was the first time that I ever actually came here. Maybe a couple years ago. But now it's just like a really fun place to go because it's not very hard to get to. The walk to the top's really not bad at all, and the views are just amazing for as far as you can see. So we're gonna go over here next to these trees and this rock. I can show you more of the mountain ranges back out that way. I mean, it's just an amazing place here, and I don't know how people can view it so negatively. And one of the things to think about is the reason that people from the area that I live in, we have the dialect that we have. It's because of the Scotch-Irish that settled this region. So lots of Scottish and Irish, of course, Germans, African Americans, Native Americans, and so many different cultures combined in this area. And those influences on food and the music and the dialects and everything is why we are the way we are. Because if you look around this area, the reason this region was settled by a lot of foreigners during those times is because this area reminded them of home, because a lot of this area does look a lot like Scotland or parts of Ireland. So it made sense for them to want to stay here because it felt like home away from home. And that's why we are the way we are, and our culture and everything is the way it is. I really do not want this camera to fall. This is what it's really like to live in the South. I mean, at least for me, every single day I'm surrounded by these beautiful mountains and these wonderful opportunities to just enjoy the outdoors and the wonderful things that are around me. Now, of course, we don't have a lot of the things you would find in big cities or maybe things up north, but we do have a lot of things that other places don't have. And I think that's one thing that makes it really unique and really special to be here is, you know, if I want to enjoy the idea of a city, I can be there in a matter of like 40 minutes to 2 hours, depending on which one I want to go to. Is, you know, I'm lucky where I live because I live in the center of so many amazing locations, but I know that this is home, and although there are certain aspects I still don't fully accept, I'm still working on that myself. I love it here, and to me, this is what it's like to live in the South.